Welcome back for the final part of our 5-part Simple Things series. So, I just want to recap, in this Simple Things series, we've built from the baseline up. We started with serves and returns. You guys left some awesome reviews and comments on that. I'm really happy everyone took to that so well. And then the second part of that was that push drop, which was the most successful video. That is a huge part and probably the most important thing for all of you in this whole series, honestly. Then we worked on our, after the push drop, I can't remember. Then we worked on something. Then I know we worked on our volleys. We worked on our slice dinking. Then we worked on our volleys. And now to finish, we're working on speed ups. There is a reason why we've waited for this. I've gotten some comments asking about speed ups, flicks, all that, because honestly, they're the least important. It is very important, but if you're not doing all of the other things, you're not gonna get to speed up the ball. So now we're gonna work on that last part, which is speed ups, and we're not gonna talk too much technique. I'm gonna recap the technique, but more how and when to use them, because that's the more important thing. Honestly, if your speed ups kind of suck, but you use them at the right time, they're still gonna be effective. For the most part, you can just push your speed ups at your opponents if you're doing it the right way. I will talk a little technique with you, but it's gonna be more about placement over power and shot selection and timing over anything. So we're gonna go over that right now. Thank you for coming back for the final part. This series has gotten such great attention, and I'm gonna really work on doing some more of these series because I think they really help you. Let me know if you have anything like maybe a shot progression. Something I was thinking about is maybe the shot progression from drive, drop, moving in, maybe a couple part series on that. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, jumping into speed ups. So especially from the left side, we're gonna talk about both sides, but from the left, we're going to be hitting mostly backhand speed ups. We'll quickly go over the middle speed up. But the first thing with speed ups, which I think a lot of you haven't thought of, is the ball width. The wider the ball is, the easier it is to speed up. Now, why is that? Because my opponent, which is you right now where you're standing, when we're straight up, you can pretty much just sit backhand in front of you, and where can I go? If I go over there, it's out. If I go right at you, you counter it. And if I go over there, it's right to your partner's forehand, which makes this ball hard to speed up. Now, when the ball starts getting outside my left leg over here, now it changes. Because now, if you stand there and I speed up line, you have to open forehand. If I speed up body, you have to sit backhand. And I could even fake a speed up and roll it to your inside foot, and you have to cover that as well. So now I have 3 different really hard options that you have to cover all of. That's not even mentioning a ball that maybe jams you up or something like that, right? So ball width is actually probably the most important thing for speeding up these balls. And what that is that's the angle given. So remember, when you're dinking, the angle you give is the angle you get. And when people dink you, the angle they give you is the angle you get. So working on waiting until that ball gets outside this foot, whether it's to flick it or to attack off the bounce, is really important. Now for the technique, like I said, I'm gonna go over this really quickly. On our two-handed backhand, the first key is very low, all the way through the shot. We're gonna get down, we're gonna stay down. And then as we swing on a path on a 45-degree angle, right? So I'm swinging up like that. That gets me spin and power. If you're swinging like this, you get spin and no power. And if you swing like this, you get power and no spin, right? So that happy medium is always gonna be that 45-degree angle. The last thing is we're gonna have a loose grip. The looser your grip, the more spin you get and the more deceptive your speed ups are. The other thing with speed ups is that deception factor. The longer you wait, the harder it is. So if I hold, and then speed up, my opponents are very likely to start getting antsy. So when you can, get that wide dead ball, hold it, and then speed it up. So the same is gonna be true for the flick. Again, I have a video on the flick you can go back and watch. I'm not gonna go over all the technique for it, but again, we're getting low with a loose grip and extending. But the spots are exactly the same, right? Alec here has to cover a forehand and a backhand. So pretty much I think about it like having him on a string. When this ball goes wide, if he slides backhand, the line's open. If he opens forehand, the body's open. So my goal's always gonna be to make him guess which way I'm gonna go. And that's deception and waiting for the wide ball. So right now we're gonna show you some of both. First we'll show you some off the bounce and then out of the air, and you'll see what I mean. I'm gonna use 3 main locations. Line, forcing him to open. Into his shoulder. What this does is if he sits backhand or forehand, he's kind of jammed up. This is a really good medium. If you have gone a couple times body and line and they're guessing, you go right at their shoulder from this wide ball, whether it's off the bounce or out of the air, and they're gonna get jammed up either way. And body, right? So 1, 2, 3 locations is how I attack the player in front of me. And in general, for you right now, for this simple thing series, we're gonna stay attacking in front. Attacking cross court is fun and all, but it gets our partner in trouble and you really don't need it. You could be playing pro pickleball only attacking in front. So that's gonna be our focus. So on those two, right, the first, both of them Alec gets back, which is what you're gonna see with good players, they get the ball back. On the first one, I pulled line and I slid. That's because I know it's gonna be very hard for him to hit a ball perfectly down the line off a speed up, so it's probably gonna fade back into me. And that second ball, just like I talked about, I went into his shoulder and I kind of got a pop up for the next ball. So again, it's not gonna work every time. Alec opened there and hit a great counter, but in general, if I'm moving these locations around and changing my spots, it's hard for this player to be on every shot. Now we're gonna jump in, I'm gonna show you the exact same thing with the flicks. Alec's gonna give me that kind of wider ball, but it's not gonna be too high. I'm either gonna roll it or flick it, whatever you're comfortable with, but again, to those same locations. So on the backhand side, you can see it. I'm not gonna win every time, but by moving that location around and using the wide ball, it's very hard on my opponents. Now we're gonna jump to the forehand side. Again, today we're talking about attacking righties. If you're attacking the lefty though, it's really no different. Just identify the spot that they're covering, right? So over there, if they're a lefty, remember that line is gonna be their backhand, so that's gonna be tough. And instead of going into their right shoulder, you're just gonna go into their left shoulder and jam them up. And when you go into the left shoulder, you would open instead of slide, little things like that, but it's really the exact same. Now from the right side, we're gonna be using that forehand, but on that forehand, it's gonna be exactly the same. So quickly on our technique, if it's out of the air, we're reaching in and we're using our wrist and our arm, mostly our arm. And then off the bounce, we're gonna drop our paddle and snap using mostly our wrist. That's going to be how we're going to speed up. Again, I have videos talking about that. You can go check them out. Ask any questions in the comments below. Again, the only thing I would mention on the off the bounce especially is you want to treat your wrist like a windshield wiper. So when I say use my wrist, I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. So see how the paddle comes in front of me? That's how I can produce a lot of spin using my wrist. Now, the spots are going to be super similar, right? Think about you as a righty right in front of me, right? So if I go line, you're gonna either cover with a one-hander, which if you see your opponent has a one-handed backhand, line is almost always open, very hard to cover. So if they have a one-hander, look line. If they have a two-hander, they're gonna get jammed up on their right hip. So we're gonna look right hip, right shoulder if they're using a two-hander. So that's our string idea. They're probably not gonna open, which is fine, but we're gonna stay between here and here. We're really not gonna go into the body because they're gonna punch it. So it's either gonna be on their right hip, right shoulder to jam them up, or we're gonna go line. When we go line, another really effective tool, especially out of the air, is off pace. So remember, when I go like this and reach the ball out of the air, a lot of times players are like this. So you can just roll it, and because it's their backhand, they're gonna struggle to reach that ball. So you'll see it. So really, those are our three options. Roll slow down the line, hard speed up down the line, and at the shoulder hip on the right side, both off the bounce and out of the air. Out of the air, if you get a good one and you want to take it body and slide backhand, that's okay. And the last thing, like we were talking about over there with the combos, here you have some options. When you pull line, you can sit forehand, which is what I like to do. And when you pull cross, you're going to slide backhand. Being on that next ball is key when you're playing a player like I am here, Alec, who's good enough to be on pretty much all my shots. Richie Recap time, guys. So this is the final part of our 5-part series. The outpouring of support and everything has just been amazing. I love this community. We're pretty much at almost 8,000 now, which is crazy to me because really I started this back in March, so it's only been a few months. Really amazing. You guys are the best. So real quick, right? The key we talked about today, the big emphasis today on the Simple Things series is what? Not what a lot of you have thought, width, ball width. The wider the ball is, the easier it is to speed up. When the ball's really wide and dead especially, the angles are abundant. You can go line, you can go body, you can go into the shoulder, you can go middle. There are so many options. We didn't talk about the middle speed up today because I decided that I think actually for the Simple Things series, that's not really the shot I want you to be focused on. You can be winning 5-0 tournaments without speeding up out of the middle. I'm much less worried about that. But when you get these wide balls, the speed ups are there. Remember, the player in front of you has to cover 2 different spots, which is very hard. So make them cover both. Make them cover the line and make them cover their shoulder joint, right? So again, these joints are huge, especially that shoulder, and then the line is really hard to cover because they have to reach. On that backhand, we focused on getting low, you saw, and out of the air, we're using, for me, I use the roll on the low ball and the flick on the higher ball. And then on the forehand, I was pretty much going just those 2 spots. I was going line. If I get that out of the air, you saw how I use that off pace. Pretty much everyone, when you reach on that forehand, kind of moves up. They either jump or lean up, and then you go low, and then they usually pop it up. And the last thing is, remember, if your opponent hits a good ball, Alec hit some in that clip where he hit a great ball in the next one, am I going to be an ego monster and rip the next one? No, I'm just gonna dink it and move on. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have to speed up this next ball as well. I'm gonna calm down, dink the second ball, and live to fight another day. The speed up is a great shot when used correctly. So practice it off the bounce and out of the air, and remember, width is king. Use it on the wide balls. That concludes our Simple Things series. Thank you for tuning in. I will see everybody with something new next time.